Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. Barcelona are set to file an official complaint against the refereeing in the match between Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid. Also, some strong interest in Jules Kounde from the Premier League. And finally, the super agent Jorge Mendes has landed in Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Bo. We'll begin this video with the news that Barcelona are set to file a formal complaint against the refereeing in the Copa del Rey semi-final, or the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final, where Atletico Madrid humiliated Barcelona 4-0. And despite Barcelona's abysmal performance, there was also another abysmal performance on the field, and that, of course, was of the referee, who was absolutely horrible, missing a clear call like this one. Again, how in the world is this not a red card? I have absolutely no idea, but what's worse is not only that the referee missed it, which can happen, but the fact that the VAR with 32 cameras also missed it. Or maybe they didn't miss it. They did not care. But of course, that wasn't the only controversial call. There was also a missed penalty against Lamine Yamal. And of course, who can forget the disallowed goal that Pau Cubarsí scored? Now, the CTA, or the Technical Committee of Referees, have officially admitted that yes, the semi-automatic offside technology failed because apparently there were too many players. So the technology couldn't, detect where each player was. And as such, the referees did have to draw the offside lines by hand. And it's still a clear goal that should have been allowed. But nonetheless, the VAR disallowed it. Not to mention, it took them 8 minutes to draw these lines, which not only is absolutely horrific, because does it truly take you that long to draw VAR lines? Offside lines. But also, it interrupted Barcelona's momentum, right? Because Barcelona had started the second half, with some momentum, and that got interrupted by those 8 minutes. So awful refereeing overall. And of course, now Barcelona are set to file an official complaint against the refereeing with the Royal Spanish Football Federation. Barcelona want to request an official explanation from the referees on what happened with the goal. They also want to know about Eric Garcia's red card, because they believe that if Eric Garcia deserved the red card, then why didn't Giuliano Simeone deserve a red card with that awful foul on Alejandro Balde? So Barcelona want to file this complaint, and they want official explanation from the referees about all the controversial calls that this ref messed up. Now, as I've said many times before, Barcelona did not lose because of the referee. Barcelona lost because their performance was absolutely abysmal in every single facet of the match. But of course, this doesn't absolve the referees of their horrendous performance. Anyways, Joan Laporta was also not happy with the refereeing, in that match, and he posted the following on his Twitter page. Since now, he is not the Barcelona president, he has resigned to run for re-election. It's Rafa Yuste now the official president. Rafa Yuste also had some statements, but we're going to review Joan Laporta's post that was in Catalan on his Twitter page, of course, expressing total unhappiness with the referee. All my support to Hansi Flick, to the players, to Deco and his team. With the strength of all the culés, I am convinced that we have a historic opportunity to pull off a great comeback at the Spotify Camp Nou on March 3rd next. Unfortunately, yesterday we suffered a whole string of setbacks, from a pitch in poor condition to a wrongly disallowed goal that didn't allow us to kick off a comeback that is possible in the return leg if we all together rally behind and cheer on the team like in the great epic nights we've lived at the stadium. From the wrongly disallowed goal to Pau Cubarsí's, it's raining on wet because it reminds us of what they disallowed to Lamine Yamal, also incorrectly at Anoeta. I think the translation here is a little bit off. I think kind of like when it pours, it rains. When it rains, it pours type situation. But anyways, nothing is innocent. That's why we have to fight against everything and everyone. Now more than ever, we need to stand by our footballers. I ask the members and supporters and the entire fan base to make them feel the affection we have for them and how proud they make us feel or how they defend our colors. So Joan Laporta, of course, expressing his anger at the referee, but nonetheless calling for all the culés to rally behind the team during the second leg of the semifinal for a possible comeback. Now, I have to say, as I said during the podcast, do I believe this team is capable of mounting a comeback? I do. I think we have the players, the system, the coach, the team that is capable of doing it. But of course, the question is, do they want it bad enough? Because we've seen that when this team wants it, when this team comes out full swing, when this team plays with full intensity, they are capable of a lot of things. The problem is that sometimes they just don't want it bad enough. And that happened during the first leg where they came out with very, very low intensity. And it's an absolute shame because one thing is not being able, not having the capacity of competing, but it's very disappointing thing when you do have the capacity to compete and you choose for some reason or the other not to compete at all. And that to me is much, much worse than not having the capacity to compete in the first place. Anyways, on to the next bit of news because the super agent Jorge Mendes has officially landed in the city of Barcelona ahead of his upcoming meeting with Barcelona's sporting director Deco and his staff. Now, Jorge Mendes does represent several Barcelona players, including Lamine Yamal, Alejandro Balde, Marc Casado, Guille Fernandez, whose future right now is up in the air. He was considering leaving, but Barcelona blocked his exit during the winter transfer market. And of course, there's also Ansu Fati, who's currently on loan with Monaco. Now, we don't know why Jorge Mendes is in Barcelona. We just know he's set to meet with Deco. We don't know about which players. Of course, we are going to find out, I'm sure. But my question to you is, who do you think Jorge Mendes is there to discuss? My guess, it would be probably Guille Fernandez because he's the one whose future is up in the air. Maybe Casado, since he hasn't been getting much minutes. I doubt he's there to talk about Lamine or Balde. The two of them renewed not too long ago. And of course, as far as Ansu, he's currently on loan. You know, once he comes back, that's going to be another story. But my question to you is, who do you think Jorge Mendes will discuss when he meets with Deco? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, there's interest from the Premier League, Liverpool more specifically, in Jules Kounde, and their sources out in England stating that Liverpool are tabling or considering an 80 million euro offer for Jules Kounde come this summer transfer market. Now, of course, Liverpool is not the only first team to want to sign Kounde in the Premier League. Chelsea were very close to signing him actually in the past, and then Barcelona beat them to the punch. But of course, my question to you is, Kounde for 80 million euros, would you sell him? My answer, given how Kounde has been performing, 100%. In fact, I would be willing to fly to Barcelona, rent a car, pick up Kounde, and drive him to the airport, if that's the case. But of course, Kounde is a player that Flick counts on. He's a player that just recently renewed. So unfortunately, I just don't see this happening. But again, if it was up to me, I will drive. Hell, I would buy his plane ticket if he agrees to leave for 80 million euros. Now, let's end today's video with some bad news because, ladies and gentlemen, the future number 9 of the first team, or who Barcelona considers the future number 9 of the first team, Oscar Gistau, will be out for 3 months. Now, the 17-year-old center forward was playing with the under-19 team, or the Juvenil A, the youth Copa del Rey against Las Palmas, which Barcelona won. But during that match, Oscar Gistau had to be subbed out due to some discomfort in his leg. Later on, medical exams were performed, and they revealed that Oscar Gistau has a small tear in the lower area of his hamstring, and as a result, he will be out for 3 months. As of course, it's a big loss for both Barça Athletic and Juvenil A, both teams that Oscar Gistau was playing for. So we wish Oscar Gistau a speedy recovery. May he be back stronger than ever. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did do the podcast earlier today. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. I'm doing the MoCast tomorrow. And of course, news videos Saturday, news videos Sunday. No watch-alongs because the match is on Monday, which is when I work. But it is what it is. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be scarce.